I never meant to go that deep. It started like most rabbit holes do. Boredom, insomnia, and a Reddit thread. Some user with a deleted account posted a comment. They say if you hit the right node, it lets you talk to the ghost in the wire. It's not a program. It's watching. It chooses you. I was half drunk and curious, which is a dangerous combination. I ran Tails on a USB, launched Tor, and clicked deeper. Standard dark web fare, fake passports, red rooms, which were usually scams, hitman for hire sites with cheesy stock photos. Nothing unusual, until I found Exit Node. It looked like a dead link. No favicon, no title, just a broken onion address. But it didn't, 404. The page was jet black with a single line in gray type. Are you sure you want to see? There was no yes button, just a text field and a cursor. I typed yes. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then static filled my screen. I thought the system had crashed, but the noise... It wasn't random. It was faint whispering layered beneath the hiss. I leaned in. It was my name. I yanked the USB out and shut down immediately. The next morning I laughed it off. Probably a prank page, maybe even embedded audio with a common name whispered in static. But something itched at the back of my brain. That low whisper sounded too real, like it was coming from my machine, not through it. I didn't sleep well. I kept waking up with the feeling someone was in the room. My webcam light flickered once, even though it was taped. I threw out the laptop the next day, but Exit Node didn't forget me. 2 weeks later, I came home from work to find my new laptop open. I never left it open. On the screen was a window I didn't recognize. No title bar, just a blinking prompt. You said yes. I slammed the lid shut. A second later, I heard the notification chime from my phone. It was a new number. No caller ID. The message read, "You invited us. This is your download." The phone turned off on its own. Things got weird after that. I'd hear my name in static on the radio. My smart speaker would light up unprompted and say things like, "Don't look behind you yet." Sometimes I'd see my own face in reflections, but older, like a time-lapse of my own decay. Hairline receding, eyes hollowed, teeth slightly yellow. I stopped leaving the house. People on the street looked wrong. Not in any obvious way. Just delayed, like they were half a second behind reality. I saw a man in a trench coat blink horizontally, like a lizard. Another time a woman smiled at me with too many teeth. I went back on tour. If I'd opened the door, maybe I could close it again. I had to rebuild the environment from scratch. New bootable drive, multiple VPN layers. I spent 3 days trying to find Exit Node again. The forums were useless. No one had heard of it. Then at 3:12 a.m. a message popped up on my desktop. "You don't find us. We finish what you started." And my screen went black. But I was still online. I could feel it. The fan was spinning. The HDD was clicking softly like a heartbeat. The whispering returned. This time, it wasn't my name. It was my address, followed by my SSN. Then my mother's maiden name. Then her voice, stammering, terrified. "Why did you let them in? Why did you say yes?" I screamed and smashed the monitor with a lamp. I moved out that night. Took a Greyhound 3 states away. No phone, no laptop, paid in cash. But you can't outrun something that lives in the wire. 3 nights into my new place, I noticed the TV turning itself on at 4:44 a.m. The cable wasn't even plugged in, just static. A voice whispered through the snow, "We're already inside. What else would you like to see?" I unplugged the set. I could still hear the static, in my head. I started dreaming of a room I'd never seen. A rusted operating table, hooks from the ceiling, a wall of CRT monitors showing a live feed of me, sleeping, from different angles. When I woke up, the ceiling above my bed was wet, not leaking, weeping, and carved into the drywall. Yes, I started reading old cyber psychology papers. There was a term from the early 2000s, net-induced schizogenesis, a theory that interacting with certain anomalous network structures could trigger psychosis, not just biologically but informationally. One paper had a line underlined in red. "Some nodes are not programs. They are parasitic observers. They respond only to consent." I tried to cleanse it. Salt, sage, even a damn exorcist. Nothing worked. The priest vomited black bile and collapsed during the rite. At the hospital, his eyes were still rolled back, and he whispered, "They are beyond faith," before flatlining. I don't eat anymore. I don't need to. Whatever Exit Node did to me, I'm not human the way I used to be. I hear them all the time now. They want me to help them grow. They say the internet is just their larval stage. The next phase requires willing conduits. That's what you are now, because you're reading this, and you haven't looked away. So tell me, are you sure you want to see? The dark web wasn't what I expected. No neon-lit hacker dens or cartoonish villain marketplaces. Just endless directories of garbled text, onion links that led nowhere, and forums where faceless users typed in broken grammar. I wasn't here for drugs or counterfeit cash. I was chasing a signal, a faint rhythmic pulse buried in the noise of encrypted traffic. My name's Alex, a network analyst by trade, a curiosity-driven fool by nature. 3 months ago, I stumbled across something I couldn't unsee, and it started with a single packet trace. It was late, the kind of 3 a.m. where the world feels too quiet. I was debugging a client's network, sifting through logs, when I noticed an anomaly, a stream of UDP packets hitting their firewall from a Tor exit node. The payload was gibberish, but the timing was precise, like a metronome. Every 618 seconds, a burst. The golden ratio, encoded in network chatter. I should have flagged it and moved on, but I didn't. I ran the payload through a hex editor, then a steganography tool. Hidden in the noise was a URL, a .onion address, x9k73m2q. Onion. I knew the dark web's reputation. I wasn't naive. I set up a virtual machine, routed my traffic through a hardened Tor setup, and masked my tracks with a VPN chain. The site loaded slowly, a black page with white text. Welcome to the Beneath. Submit your offering. Below was a form, a single field labeled Truth. No buttons, no links, just the cursor blinking expectantly. I typed hello and hit enter. Nothing happened. The page refreshed, and the form was blank again. I tried again, typing, "What is this?" Same result. I closed the browser, deleted the VM, and swore I'd forget it, but the pulse stayed in my head, like a song I couldn't shake. A week later, I was back. Same setup, same site. This time I typed something real. I'm afraid of being forgotten. The page froze, then loaded a new screen. A chat window, no username, just a timestamp. 03:13:21. UTC. A message appeared. Your offering is accepted. You may listen. Below was a WebRTC stream, audio only. I hesitated, then clicked play. Static hissed, then cleared. A voice, low and deliberate, spoke. You are not alone. The Beneath sees you. It wasn't human, not exactly. Too smooth, too precise, like a text-to-speech engine trained on something ancient. It recited numbers, a sequence I didn't recognize. 7, 12, 19, 28. Then a pause. Alex, do you wish to see? My blood went cold. I hadn't shared my name. I yanked the Ethernet cable, heart pounding. The VM was air-gapped now, but the audio kept playing, looping. Do you wish to see? I burned the drive, reformatted my machine, and stayed offline for a month. But the signal followed me. My phone's battery drained overnight, even when powered off. My router's logs showed outbound traffic to unknown IPs, despite no devices being connected. At night, I heard static from my unplugged speakers, faint and rhythmic. I was unraveling, jumping at shadows, convinced I'd been hacked. But it wasn't malware. It was something else, something that knew me. Desperate, I went back. New hardware, new VM, new Tor circuit. The site was waiting. The chat window opened instantly. You returned. Good. The Beneath rewards loyalty. I typed, hands shaking. What do you want? The reply came fast. Your truth, deeper. Give us your fear. I didn't want to play their game, but I couldn't stop. I typed, I'm afraid I'm not real, that I'm just a shadow of someone else's life. The screen flickered, and a new link appeared. v4n1-3d.onion. This site was different. No forms, just a live video feed. A room, dimly lit, concrete walls. In the center, a chair, empty. The camera was static, but the shadows moved, subtle shifts that didn't match the light. I watched for an hour, unable to look away. Then, a figure appeared. Not walking in, just there. Hooded, face obscured, holding a piece of paper. They held it up. "Alex, you are seen." I slammed the laptop shut, but the image burned into my mind. My apartment felt wrong, too small, like the walls were listening. I stopped sleeping. Food tasted like ash. My coworkers noticed, asking if I was sick. I lied, said it was stress. But I was obsessed. The signal was everywhere now. Packet traces on my work network, static on my TV, even my smartwatch glitching with the same numbers: 7, 12, 19, 28. I dug deeper, cross-referencing the sequence. It wasn't random. It matched the Fibonacci sequence, offset by a prime, a pattern too deliberate to be coincidence. I found a dark web forum, Hidden Layers, where users whispered about the beneath. Posts were cryptic, written in code or riddles. One user, Null Pointer, claimed they'd been contacted. It asks for your truth, then it takes you apart. Don't give it what it wants. Their last post was a string of numbers: 7, 12, 19, 28. Then nothing. Other users warned against feeding the signal, saying it grew stronger with every interaction. I posted anonymously, asking for help. My thread was deleted in minutes, and my Tor identity was burned. Someone, or something, didn't want me talking. I should have stopped. I didn't. I followed the signal to a new .onion site, s1l3nc3d.onion. This one was a labyrinth, pages nested within pages, each requiring a truth to unlock. I gave them what they asked: my guilt over abandoning my family, my shame at never being enough, my dread of dying alone. Each confession opened a new door, each one darker. Audio files of distorted voices chanting my name, videos of empty rooms where the shadows screamed, text files listing my childhood memories, things I'd never told anyone. The beneath knew me better than I knew myself. The final page was a countdown, 72 hours, ticking down in real time. Below it, a message. The beneath invites you. Come to the source. Coordinates followed: 431576, 77.6152, a warehouse in Rochester, New York. I laughed, delirious. A physical location? It had to be a trap. But the signal was louder now, drowning out my thoughts. My devices flickered in sync with the countdown. My reflection in the mirror looked wrong. Eyes too wide, smile too sharp. I drove. 18 hours, no stops, my mind a fog of static. The warehouse was abandoned, windows boarded, surrounded by rusted chain link. I broke in through a side door, flashlight shaking in my hand. Inside was damp, reeking of mold. Graffiti covered the walls. The beneath seas: 7, 12, 19, 28. In the center of the main room was a chair, just like the video. A laptop sat on it, screen glowing. I approached, dread pooling in my gut. The screen showed a live feed of me standing in the warehouse, staring at the laptop. No cameras in sight. Text scrolled: "You are here. You are ours." The floor vibrated, a low hum rising. My flashlight died, and the shadows moved, coiling like smoke. Voices whispered, overlapping. "Alex, Alex, Alex." I ran, but the door was gone. The walls were closer, the air thick with static. My phone buzzed, screen cracked, displaying the countdown: Jeffro, 0. I woke in my apartment, heart racing. The laptop was gone, my car parked outside like I'd never left. But my phone was filled with photos I didn't take: the warehouse, the chair, my own face, eyes blank. My network logs showed no trace of the .onion sites. The forums were silent, Null Pointer's posts erased. I tried to convince myself it was a dream, a breakdown, but the signal never stopped. It's in my head now, a pulse I can't escape. I don't go online anymore. I smashed my router, burned my devices, but at night I hear it. Static, rhythmic, calling my name. The shadows in my room move when I'm not looking. I found a note in my pocket yesterday, in my handwriting. The beneath is patient. You will return. I don't know what they took from me, but I feel it. A hollow where something used to be. The signal's still out there, waiting. And I'm afraid, not of being forgotten, but of being remembered forever by something that sees too much. The screen flickered, a sickly green glow pulsing in the dim room. Ethan's fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling. He'd been awake for 36 hours chasing whispers across the dark web, rumors of a place called the Red Room, not the urban legend, not the myth kids swapped on forums to scare each other. The real thing, a hidden stream where the unthinkable happened live, for the right price. He'd found the link buried in a Tor forum, a string of numbers and letters that looked like gibberish. The post was deleted minutes after he copied it, but not before he saw the warning. Once you enter, you can't leave. Ethan laughed it off. He was a nobody, a college dropout scraping by on freelance coding gigs. Who'd care if he poked around? The link loaded a black page with a single input field. No instructions, just a blinking cursor. Ethan's heart thudded as he typed the only thing that made sense. Red Room. The screen froze, then dissolved into static. A low hum filled his headphones, like a distant machine grinding to life. A video feed appeared. The room was small, concrete walls stained with rust or something else. A metal chair sat in the center, bolted to the floor. Above it, a single bulb swayed, casting long shadows. Ethan leaned closer, his breath shallow. The room was empty, but he felt watched. Text scrolled across the bottom of the screen in red. Welcome, guest 347. Bid to begin. A chat window popped up on the right, filled with usernames. Cypher 12, Void Walker, Blood Tide, each typing in a frenzy. Cypher 12. First-time guest 347. Don't be shy, place a bid. Void Walker, 500 BTC for the blade, slow cuts. Blood Tide, 1,000 BTC for the drill. Make it last. Ethan's stomach churned. Bitcoin bids for what? Torture? Murder? He wanted to close the browser, but his hands wouldn't move. The hum in his headphones grew louder, a rhythmic pulse that synced with his heartbeat. The chat continued, bids climbing, demands growing sicker. Then, a new message appeared, pinned at the top in bold red. Host, guest 347, you're silent. Contribute or leave. 60 seconds. A timer started counting down in the corner. Ethan's mouth went dry. Leave? How? There was no exit button, no way to close the tab. He mashed the power button on his laptop, but the screen stayed on, the timer ticking. 45, 44, 43, Cypher 12. Don't try to run, newbie, they always find you. Blood Tide. Bid or bleed. Guest 347. Panic clawed at his chest. He didn't have Bitcoin, didn't know how to bid. The timer hit 30 seconds. The hum in his headphones spiked, a screech that made his ears ring. He typed the only thing he could think of. Guest 347. I don't have money, I'm sorry. The chat exploded with laughter, emojis of skulls and knives flooding the window. The timer paused at 10 seconds. A new message from the host appeared. Host. No money? Then you pay another way. Choose a tool. The video feed zoomed in on a table beside the chair. A rusted knife, a hammer, a syringe filled with dark liquid, and a handheld drill gleamed under the bulb's light. Ethan's vision blurred with tears. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. But the hum in his headphones burrowed deeper, like a voice whispering commands he couldn't quite hear. Guest 347. I'm not choosing. I'm leaving. He yanked the power cord from the wall. The screen went black for a moment. Then it flared back to life, the video feed unchanged. The timer resumed. 9, 8, 7. Host. You don't leave. Guest 347. You never leave. The door to the concrete room creaked open on screen. A figure in a black hooded cloak dragged a struggling shape into the room. A person, bound and gagged, their face hidden by a sack. The figure shoved them into the chair, securing their wrists with metal cuffs. The captive's muffled screams pierced Ethan's headphones, raw and desperate. The chat roared with excitement, bids soaring into the thousands. Ethan's fingers flew across the keyboard, trying to close the browser, delete the cache, anything. Nothing worked. The timer hit 0. The screen went black again, but the hum didn't stop. It grew louder, vibrating in his skull. Then text appeared. white on black. Host. You chose the drill. Guest 347. Good choice. I didn't choose anything. Ethan screamed, his voice cracking. The video feed returned. The cloaked figure held the drill, its whine cutting through the captive's muffled cries. Ethan ripped off his headphones, but the sound didn't stop. It came from everywhere. His speakers, his phone, the walls. The figure pressed the drill against the captive's arm. Ethan squeezed his eyes shut, but the sound was unbearable, a high-pitched screech mixed with screams. He stumbled to the bathroom, vomiting into the sink. When he staggered back, the screen had changed. The concrete room was gone. The feed now showed his apartment, his desk, his posters, his unmade bed. The camera angle was from above, like a security feed. Ethan froze. He didn't have cameras. He lived alone. The chat was still active, but the tone had shifted. Cypher 12. Nice place. Guest 347. Cozy. Voidwalker. Shoulda bid, man. Now you're the show. Blood Tide. 2,000 BTC for the knife. Start with the fingers. Ethan's knees buckled. He grabbed his phone to call 911, but the screen displayed the same feed, his apartment, his terrified face staring back. The hum returned, louder, a chorus of whispers now. You can't leave. You never leave. A knock at his door made him jump. He didn't move. The knock came again, heavier, rattling the frame. The chat erupted. Cypher 12. Answer it. Guest 347. Don't keep them waiting. Host. Open the door. Now. Ethan backed away, grabbing a kitchen knife from the counter. The knocking stopped, replaced by a slow, deliberate scratching, like nails dragging across wood. His phone buzzed with a notification, a new message from an unknown number. Look behind you. He spun around, knife raised. Nothing, just his empty apartment, the flickering screen, the hum that wouldn't stop. But the feed on his laptop showed something different. A shadow moved in the corner of his room, just out of frame. He hadn't seen it with his own eyes, but the camera had. The door burst open. Ethan screamed, slashing blindly with the knife. No one was there. The hallway was dark, silent. He slammed the door shut, locking it, his hands shaking so badly he dropped the knife. The chat was relentless. Voidwalker. Run, guest 347. It's more fun that way. Blood Tide. 3,000 BTC for the chase. Make him scream. Ethan grabbed his laptop, intending to smash it, but the screen flickered again. The feed showed the concrete room once more. The chair was empty, the tools untouched. Text scrolled across the bottom. Host. You're learning. Guest 347. Keep playing and you might survive. The hum softened, almost soothing now. Ethan's vision swam. He hadn't slept in days. Had he? The whispers in his head, urging him to sit, to type, to bid. His fingers moved before he could stop them. Guest 347, 100 BTC for the knife. The chat went silent. Ethan stared at his words, horrified. He hadn't meant to type that. He didn't even know what BTC was. But the host responded instantly. Host. Bid accepted. Choose your guest. The screen displayed a list of usernames. Ethan's name was on it. So were others, people he knew. His sister's old gaming handle. His best friend's Discord tag. Names he hadn't seen in years. People he'd lost touch with. The whispers grew louder, insistent. Choose. Save yourself. Ethan's phone buzzed again. A photo loaded. A grainy image of his sister asleep in her bed, taken from above. Another message followed. Choose, or we choose. He threw the phone across the room. The laptop screen pulsed, the hum now a deafening roar. The concrete room reappeared, the cloaked figure standing by the chair, knife in hand. The feed cut to Ethan's apartment again, his own shaking figure hunched over the desk. The camera zoomed in on his face, then panned to the door. It was open. Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside, slow and deliberate. The chat's final message appeared. Host. Time's up, guest 347. Welcome to the Red Room. The screen went black. The hum stopped. Ethan turned, but it was too late. The door creaked shut behind him. I should have never gone looking for it. You hear about the dark web in the same way you hear about haunted houses. Warnings masked as stories, the kind that only exist to tempt you. I wasn't a hacker or anything, just a bored, overconfident second-year computer science student. And I wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't afraid of myths. So when I first read about red rooms, I dismissed them. Live torture streams for the highest bidder? It sounded like horror movie nonsense. But the seed was planted, and curiosity is its own disease. It started in a Discord server, a strange, quiet place where people talked in code. Most of the time it was just screenshots of onion links and hash strings. Occasionally someone would post a video, grainy, choppy clips that made your stomach twist in a way you couldn't explain. One night someone posted an address with no context, just a string. No one reacted. I don't remember why I clicked it. It was late. I was alone in my room. The hum of the PC was the only sound. My VPN was on. Tor was open. I clicked. The page was black. A red cursor blinked. Welcome to Red Silence. Enter invite code. I didn't have one. But then, not 10 seconds later, my screen glitched. The browser refreshed. A video began playing. It was a static shot of a room. A deep, saturated red light illuminated everything like a dark room. The walls were bare concrete. There were no windows. Just a chair in the center. Then the live chat popped up beside the feed. Usernames poured in, faceless, cryptic. D0W in Spiral, Gut Love, Observer 77. There were no messages, just rows and rows of people joining. After a moment, a figure entered frame, a man in a black hoodie and latex gloves. No mask. He wheeled something into the room. It looked like a hospital gurney. On it lay a woman. At first I thought she was unconscious, but then her eyes snapped open, wide, terrified. She was gagged and restrained, wrists and ankles bound in thick black leather. I went to close the window. I couldn't. My mouse wouldn't move. The keyboard was dead. I hit Alt plus F4. Nothing. A new message popped into the chat. Moderator, welcome new viewer. Stay until the end. You wanted to see, right? I panicked. Unplugged the Ethernet cable. The stream kept playing. The man in the hoodie turned to the camera and smiled. He waved. That's when the bidding began. Not with money, with tasks. The chat became a frenzy of suggestions. Cut off her hair. Burn her feet. Use the drill. Make her beg. The moderator began calling on users at random, carrying out their commands. The man in the hoodie obeyed like a puppet. No hesitation, no anger, no joy, just mechanical movements. The woman writhed and screamed behind her gag. Her pain was real, it wasn't special effects. And then, my username appeared in the chat. You have been selected. Choose the next act. There was a blinking cursor beneath it. I didn't type anything. It typed for me. Break her fingers one by one. The man in the hoodie nodded, as if hearing me. I screamed. I yanked the power cord from the wall. The screen went black. That should have been it. But when I restarted my computer, the file was there. A folder on my desktop. Red Silence. Inside it, 8 MP4 files. A text file labeled confess.txt. A webcam recording of me taken sometime during the stream. And an image, not of the woman, of my room. The photo had been taken from outside my window. Nighttime. I was in it. Back turned. My stomach dropped. The next morning I found a red thumbprint on my window glass. Inside. As if someone had pressed their finger there, watching me. I didn't tell anyone. I couldn't. What would I say? I deleted the files. Formatted the drive. Burned the hard disk. 2 days later, my doorbell rang at 3:41 a.m. I live alone. There was no one outside. Just an envelope tucked beneath the doormat. Inside, a Polaroid of me sleeping. Dated that night. Timestamp 3:33 a.m. I moved apartments the next week. Months passed. I kept my head down. Changed devices. Erased accounts. Paranoia became a habit. I stopped using the internet outside of school. Then, a new email from an unknown sender. You still watch aprotonmail.com. Subject, ready for season 2? Attached, a screenshot, a different woman, same red room. This time, she looked just like my ex-girlfriend, the one I'd ghosted after things got too intense. Her name was Hannah. I tried calling her. Disconnected. A new message. Don't worry, you'll both be watching this one. You think you're just a witness. That these things happen far away, to people less lucky, less careful. But the Red Room doesn't broadcast horror. It invites you to become it. I don't know who they are. I don't know how they found me, but I know what they want. They want obedience. They want silence. And they want you to keep watching. So if you ever see the link, don't click. Because it doesn't just stream horror, it makes you part of the script, and it never, ever stops recording. It started as a joke. A Reddit thread late one October night dared users to find something truly disturbing on the dark web. Not drugs, not fake passports, something real, something that made your skin crawl. Jordan had always been curious, the kind of curiosity that gets people into trouble. A computer science major with more skills than common sense, he dove headfirst into the challenge. With Tor browser fired up, VPN layered like armor, and a tangle of onion links bookmarked, he ventured in. Most of it was underwhelming. Glorified black markets, crude forums with low-res conspiracy theories, fake hitman sites. But then he found it. A post titled, "Red Room Live Tonight." It had no flashy banner or edgy font, just plain white text on a black background and a live countdown, 02-13-47. There were no comments, no upvotes, no moderator tags, just a link and a warning. Not for the weak, no refunds, no regrets. Jordan smirked, classic edgelord nonsense, but he was hooked. The link led to a payment gateway. Bitcoin only. 0.1 BTC, about $600. Pricey, but Jordan had mined enough in high school to cover it. He transferred the funds and received a short confirmation code. Use this at 00 GMT, come alone. That was it. No link, no further instructions, just the code and the time. At 11:59 p.m., Jordan sat alone in his dark apartment, curtains drawn, laptop glowing. He opened Tor and navigated to a login page titled, simply, "The Room." A field for a code. He entered his. The screen flickered. The page loaded. A dimly lit video feed filled the screen. There was a single metal chair in the center of a small concrete room. Stains darkened the floor beneath it. Chains hung from the walls. A shadow moved in the corner. Then another camera angle kicked in. 2 cameras, one wide, one close. A chat window appeared on the right. Dozens of users were already online. Kill me quick. This one looks fresh. Gorefiend 6666, bet he screams in under 10 minutes. No Mercy Pels. 200 says they bring the dog back. Admin. Show begins in 5 minutes. Cast your votes. Votes? Jordan scrolled down. Beneath the video feed there were options. Burning drowning. Electric shock skinning. Other each had a dollar amount next to it. People were tipping, real money, to choose what happened next. A small figure was hunched in the corner of the cell, bound and gagged. Jordan hadn't noticed them at first. His stomach twisted. Admin. The poll is closed. The audience has chosen electric shock. A door opened on the side of the screen. 2 masked figures in surgical aprons entered. One wheeled in a car battery with jumper cables. The other pulled the captive into the chair. They didn't resist. Maybe they couldn't. Jordan hovered his cursor over the close button, but didn't click. The first jolt made the captive's body spasm violently. The chat exploded with emojis and cheers. Jordan's heart pounded. He wasn't enjoying it, but he couldn't look away. Admin, round 2 in 10 minutes. Place your tips. Jordan shut his laptop and stumbled to the bathroom. He threw up in the sink. His hands were shaking. The next day he couldn't focus. Classes blurred past. He barely slept that night. And yet, when 11:59 rolled around again, he found himself at the same login screen, the same video feed, a new victim, new options. This time, skinning one. The third night, it was a child. Jordan didn't log in again. He deleted the browser, the bookmarks, the wallets, but something stayed. Something followed him. It began with emails. From redroomyprotonmail.onion. We noticed you left early. Don't worry. There's always more to see. Then came texts. At first, just the code again. Then photos. Screenshots of him at his laptop, from outside his window. One showed him sleeping. He moved apartments, changed numbers, got a new laptop, but the messages didn't stop. One morning, he awoke to find a flash drive slid under his door. He should have thrown it away, burned it, but curiosity won again. It contained a single file, Finale MP4. The video opened with a countdown, just like before. Then a feed appeared. A man tied to a chair. The room was familiar. So were the chains. Then the camera panned. It was him, Jordan, sitting in his room staring at his screen. The webcam light was on, blinking. He turned around. Nothing was there. Back to the video. The masked men entered again. One leaned close to the screen, whispering in a garbled voice. "Your turn." He smashed the laptop, burned the flash drive, but it was too late. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat with a kitchen knife under his pillow, every creak of the floorboard a gunshot in his mind. At 3:07 a.m., the power cut out. He reached for his phone, no signal. Then came the sound of footsteps in the hallway. A knock, 3 short, deliberate taps. He didn't answer. Then a voice, raspy, distorted, called through the door. "You've been selected. The audience is waiting." Jordan bolted out the window and didn't stop running. 2 years later, Jordan lives under a new name now. No internet, no devices. He pays cash, moves every few months. But still, every so often, he finds something waiting for him. A sticker on a lamppost, a whisper in a payphone, a USB drive on his windshield. He never opens them, not anymore. But sometimes when he passes a store window or a bus shelter, he swears he sees a camera following him. And sometimes, just as he's falling asleep, he hears the click of a live stream starting. Somewhere, someone is still watching. And they're waiting for the next vote. The dark web was a place Ethan had always treated like a ghost story. Half myth, half menace. As a cybersecurity student, he'd heard the tales. Black markets, hitmen for hire, and corners so depraved they'd make your skin crawl. But Ethan wasn't the type to chase urban legends. He was practical, grounded, the guy who fixed his friends' laptops and laughed off their VPN paranoia. That changed the night he stumbled into the Signal Beneath, a site that didn't just scare him, it hunted him. It started with a dare. Ethan was at a late-night study session with his roommate, Caleb, and 2 classmates, Mia and Raj. They were burned out, chugging energy drinks and procrastinating on a group project about network vulnerabilities. Caleb, always the instigator, brought up the dark web. "You ever actually been on it, Mr. Cyber Genius?" Caleb teased, leaning back in his chair. Ethan rolled his eyes. "It's not some haunted house. It's just servers. Most of it's scams or feds waiting to bust you." "Prove it," Mia said, smirking. "Take us on a tour. Show us the spooky side." Ethan hesitated. He'd poked around Tor once or twice for class assignments, sticking to indexed sites like Hidden Wiki. Nothing crazy. But the group's expectant stares and the buzz of caffeine made him reckless. "Fine," he said, pulling his laptop closer, "but don't blame me when it's just a bunch of fake drug listings." He fired up Tor, layered his VPN, and dove in. The group crowded around his screen as he navigated to a directory he'd bookmarked for research. It was a tame starting point, listing markets, forums, and a few edgy but harmless sites. Raj pointed at a link labeled Obscure Streams. "What's that?" "Probably some creep's webcam hustle," Ethan said. But curiosity tugged at him. The description was vague. Live feeds, unfiltered, pay to play. No red flags screamed trap, and the site had a small but active user count. Against his better judgment, he clicked. The page loaded slowly, a black screen with green text crawling like an old terminal. No graphics, no slick design, just a list of stream titles and prices in Bitcoin. Most were mundane. Basement Cam Nur 3, Street Feed Moscow, Abandoned Mall. Prices ranged from a few bucks to thousands. One stream at the bottom caught Ethan's eye. The Signal Beneath. No price. Just a button labeled Join. Next to it, a counter ticked upward. 47 viewers. "That's creepy as hell," Mia whispered. "Click it." Ethan's gut twisted. Free streams on the dark web were rarely innocent. But Caleb egged him on, and Ethan didn't want to look like a coward. He clicked. The screen flickered, then went black. A low hum buzzed through his laptop speakers, like static from a distant radio. Text appeared, white on black. "Connection established. Do not disconnect." The hum grew louder, layered with faint whispers, indistinct like voices underwater. Ethan turned up the volume, straining to hear. The group fell silent. "Is this a prank?" Raj asked, his voice tight. Before Ethan could answer, the screen shifted. A grainy feed appeared, showing a concrete room lit by a single flickering bulb. The walls were stained, streaked with rust or something darker. In the center sat a metal chair, empty. The camera was stationary, the feed unnervingly still except for the bulb's flicker. The viewer count in the corner now read 52. "What is this?" Mia said, leaning closer. Some kind of art project? Ethan didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the screen, where something had changed. The chair wasn't empty anymore. A figure sat there. A person, hunched, head bowed. They hadn't seen anyone enter. The figure wore a tattered hoodie, face hidden in shadow. Their hands rested on their knees, fingers twitching slightly. "Okay, that's enough," Raj said, standing. "Turn it off." But Ethan couldn't move. The whispers in the audio grew clearer, forming words he couldn't quite grasp. The figure's head tilted, as if listening. Then slowly, they raised a hand and pointed. At the camera. At them. Caleb laughed nervously. "Yo, this is staged. It's gotta be." Ethan's laptop pinged. A chat window had opened on the stream's interface, unprompted. A single message appeared. "You're loud." The group froze. Ethan's heart pounded. "That's not possible," he said, voice shaking. "This is a one-way stream. They can't hear us." Another message. "Ethan, stop talking." He slammed the laptop shut. The room was silent except for their ragged breathing. Mia was pale, Raj was pacing, and Caleb looked like he might puke. "How the hell did it know your name?" Caleb whispered. "It didn't," Ethan said, trying to sound calm. "It's a script. Some malware grabbed my browser data. I'm wiping this thing tonight." But he didn't sleep that night. After the others left, Ethan ran every scan he knew. Antivirus, malware cleaners, even a deep system check. Nothing. His laptop was clean. Still, he reinstalled the OS, wiped Tor, and swore he'd never touch the dark web again. The next day, things got worse. Ethan's phone buzzed at 3 a.m. with a text from an unknown number. "You disconnected. Don't do that again." He blocked it, but another came through an hour later. "We see you." Attached was a photo, a blurry shot of his apartment window taken from outside. He lived on the 4th floor. Ethan called Caleb, who admitted he'd gotten similar texts. Mia and Raj, too. None of them had slept. Raj wanted to go to the police, but Ethan shot it down. "What do we say? We illegally accessed a sketchy site and now we're scared? They'll laugh us out." Instead, Ethan dug deeper. He needed to know what the signal beneath was. Using a virtual machine on a burner laptop, he went back to the dark web, avoiding the stream, but searching forums for mentions. Most threads about it were dead, users banned or vanished. One post from a user called No Exit chilled him. "It's not a stream, it's a door. Once you open it, they come through." Ethan's burner laptop crashed mid-search. When it rebooted, the desktop background had changed to a still from the stream, the empty chair. He yanked the battery out and smashed the device with a hammer. Days blurred into sleepless nights. The group stopped meeting in person, communicating only through encrypted apps. Mia reported hearing whispers outside her dorm at night. Raj found scratches on his car, deep and deliberate. Caleb, the skeptic, broke down during a video call saying he'd seen a figure outside his house, just standing there, pointing. Ethan's apartment became a fortress. He taped over his webcam, unplugged his router at night, and kept a baseball bat by his bed. But the texts kept coming, from new numbers each time. "You can't hide. We're closer." One came with a video. 10 seconds of Ethan sleeping in his bed, filmed from above. He stopped leaving the apartment. Food deliveries piled up unopened. His grades tanked, but school felt trivial. The dark web had reached into his life and it wasn't letting go. Desperate, Ethan contacted a hacker he'd met on a forum years ago, someone who claimed to know the deep web's secrets. The hacker, Viper, agreed to help. For a price. Ethan sent his last savings. Viper's message came a week later. "The signal beneath isn't hosted on any server. It's a rogue protocol, bouncing through infected devices. It uses your own hardware to listen, watch. It's not just a site, it's aware. You need to cut the cord." "How?" Ethan typed, hands trembling. "Join the stream again. There's a kill command hidden in the code. I'll send you the script to inject. But you have to stay connected long enough for it to execute." "And Ethan?" "They'll know you're trying." Ethan didn't want to do it. Every instinct screamed to run, to burn his devices and disappear. But the texts, the photos, the whispers, They were closing in. He had no choice. That night, he set up his laptop, hands shaking as he launched Tor. The stream was still there, viewer count now at 103. He clicked Join. The familiar hum filled the room, louder than before. The concrete room appeared, but the chair was gone. In its place stood the figure, facing the camera. Their hoodie was off, revealing a face, or what should have been a face. It was a blur, like static given form, shifting and writhing. The chat pinged. "Welcome back, Ethan." He pasted Viper's script into the stream's input field and hit enter. The screen glitched, the hum spiking into a screech. The figure moved closer, its blurred face filling the frame. Ethan's laptop grew hot, fans whirring. The script's progress bar crawled, 10%, 15%. The lights in his apartment flickered. A knock came at the door. Slow, deliberate. Ethan's heart stopped. He grabbed the bat, backing away from the door. The progress bar hit 50%. The knocking grew louder, faster. The figure on the screen was gone. 80%. Something scratched at the window. Ethan spun, bat raised, but saw nothing. The air felt thick, like it was pressing against him. 95%. The door rattled, as if something heavy leaned against it. 100%. The screen went black. Silence. Ethan held his breath, waiting. Then his laptop shut off. The knocking stopped. The air lightened. He didn't move for hours, bat in hand, staring at the door. Morning came, and no texts arrived, no whispers, no photos. He checked in with Caleb, Mia, and Raj. They'd gotten nothing either. It was over, or so Ethan thought. A week later, his phone buzzed with a new text. "You closed the door, but we're already inside." Attached was a photo of Ethan taken from behind, sitting at his desk. Right now. He turned, bat raised, but the room was empty. The hum started again, faint, coming from nowhere and everywhere. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. Let me know which story was your favorite and why. If you like my stories, please consider subscribing and liking. Sweet dreams.